This is gonna take crackerjack timing, Wang.
Total concentration. You ready, Jack?
I was born ready.
October's comic industry sales numbers are in, and in a shock to no one who's been paying attention, Marvel Comics and C.B. Cebulski are laughing all the way to the bank on the back of Jonathan Hickman's X-Men reboot. The final issues of House of X and Powers of 10 and the debut of Dawn of X, led by Hickman's own X-Men, resulted in the highest industry sales in 3 years, in the fourth best sales month of the past decade. We talk about the importance of tentpole properties to Marvel and DC a lot here on Thinking Critical, and Marvel's performance the past 3 months is exactly what we're talking about. X-Men is driving a surge in their unit and dollar sales, and reinvigorating the entire comic market in the process. In this video, I'm going to cover a report on strategic market trends and give my analysis first. Then I'm going to dig into October's comic sales numbers and finer details. And finally, I'm going to provide Comicron's October comic sales summary. ICV2.com reports sales to comic stores were up dramatically in October, according to information released by Diamond Comic Distributors, with periodical sales up 21.05% over October 2018. Graphic novel sales continued their long decline, with sales down 3.32% versus October 2018. But combined, sales of comics and graphic novels were strongly positive, up 14.09%. Year to date, sales are now up 1.81% versus 2018, with comic sales up 4.19% and graphic novel sales down 4.16%. Marvel Comics' market share lead was down a little from the previous months at less than 8% more than DC Comics, indicating that even though Marvel may have had a good month, DC's sales also contributed strongly. I don't compliment Marvel EIC C.B. Cebulski on the channel often, but his flood the market strategy with Jonathan Hickman's X-Men reboot succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. Marvel basically got a full year's worth of exceptional sales in 3 months, and built a tremendous amount of reader buy-in for the 6 follow-up Dawn of X titles. What was looking like another annual sales decrease for comics in 2019 has basically turned around almost solely on the back of Marvel. Marvel Comics dollar sales are their highest since June 2016, which saw the debut of Civil War II. Marvel Comics shipped 110 comics in total in October. Their sales improved a phenomenal 32% over the same month in 2018. Marvel Comics sales are guaranteed to increase in 2019. Annual sales numbers will surpass 2018's by the end of November. Marvel also shipped 50 graphic novels in October, their highest number in 6 years. DC Comics announced austerity measures not too long ago, citing a lack of available art talent. They've officially abandoned that strategy. DC shipped 94 new comics after accounting for the 13 cardstock cover releases, the most new comics published since November 2017. If you do check out sales numbers on Comicron.com yourself, you need to keep the cardstock variants in mind. If you're unaware, it may look like Batman is shipping in the 60,000 range rather than the mid 80,000 range it's actually shipping. With their increased production in October, DC Comics saw a 19% increase in dollar sales over October 2018. DC's dollars are being boosted significantly by their premium price DC Black Label line, which accounted for 4 of their top 10 best-selling comics. DC also got a major boost from Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's Doomsday Clock Part 1 hardcover edition. You've got to wonder how long it takes co-publishers Dan Didio and Jim Lee to officially remove Doomsday Clock from continuity and move it into the Black Label family of assets. ScreenRant.com reports, thanks largely in part to X-Men #1, relaunching the Marvel series from writer Jonathan Hickman, October 2019 was the best month for comic sales since October 2016, and the 4th best month in the last decade. While much of the sales benchmark can be attributed to the historic and high-profile X-Men #1, there are other titles that more than likely helped October's sales as well, including the conclusion of both House of X and Powers of 10. Elsewhere, top 10 titles like Amazing Mary Jane #1, the launch of Kate Pryde's New Marauders, and a relaunched Ghost Rider were large contributors as well from Marvel. On the DC side of things, the arrival of blockbuster Joker film only added to the attention for the Joker Year the Villain one-shot from director John Carpenter. And while many fans have had to wait much longer than expected for Doomsday Clock to conclude, the hardcover sales confirm fans still need to know. Add in the continued rollover in sales surrounding Spawn 301's record-setting release, and the totals kept on climbing. October brought in a record-breaking $56.35 million in comic sales in total, suggesting comic book sellers were continually reordering said titles at a higher rate due to the higher demand for the larger profile titles in comparison to past months. It's no surprise that Hickman's X-Men #1 was such a big contributor for October's overall sales. Over the years, Hickman has been the mastermind behind Avengers, Infinity, and 2015's Secret Wars. Now known as the head of X, Hickman is now in charge of creating and supervising a brand new direction for the X-Men, which began with House of X and Powers of 10. X-Men #1 was also met with some very positive reception and excitement towards the new dawn Hickman is ushering in for the X-Men. Marvel absolutely dominated monthly sales by dollars and units shipped. It can't be understated just how much Jonathan Hickman's X-Men reboot has reinvigorated Marvel's once stale lineup. X-Men #1, Powers of 10 #6, House of X #6, and Marauders #1 were all on the top 10 list for units shipped. Donny Cates' Absolute Carnage is also performing exceptionally well. Led by Absolute Carnage #4, the event landed 8 comics in the top 100 list for October. Amazing Mary Jane had a very impressive debut, shipping over 115,000 issues. The comic featured 4 or 5 variant covers from pinup king J. Scott Campbell. Campbell's variants are among the most sought-after assets on the market by collectors, and Marvel no doubt took advantage of this with several variant and party variant incentive ordering schemes, forcing retailers to buy copies they can't sell to get their hands on the J. Scott Campbell covers. Of Marvel's 100 new comics, 20 were #1s. Dawn of X titles Marauders and Excalibur both shipped over 80,000 copies. Marvel Zombies Resurrection had an impressive showing, moving over 70,000 comics. Despite shipping in the top 10, Ed Brisson's Ghost Rider received what appears to be an unnecessary overshipment. Savage Avengers, Black Cat, Strike Force, and Black Panther and the Agents of Wakanda all received overships as well, which on the surface appears to be a decrease in the practice from recent months. Event series Contagion and both #1 issues of Alyssa Wong's Future Fight First failed to make an impact on the market. John Carpenter's Joker Year the Villain one-shot was easily DC's biggest mover in October. The legendary film director's Joker story shipped almost 130,000 comics. Like I mentioned earlier, DC's cardstock variants throw the monthly calculations off a bit. If you combine the regular cover and cardstock cover sales, DC Comics actually would have landed 3 comics in the top 10 units shipped. Deceased #5 would have landed at #7, and Deceased Finale #6 would have slid into #10. Tom King's Batman is still among the top-selling ongoing comics in the industry. The title appeared to be heading under 75,000 a few months ago, but City of Bane and the cardstock variants seem to have stabilized sales. Both Batman 80 and 81 shipped right around 85,000 comics. DC Comics are still within striking distance of recording dollar sales growth in 2019, and that can almost fully be accounted for by the strong sales of their mostly premium-priced Black Label line. Joker Harley Criminal Sanity and Joker Killer Smile both shipped 81,000 and 70,000 comics with $6 cover prices. Harley #2 moved 65,000 issues priced at $8 each. Sean Gordon Murphy's Black Label sequel, Curse of the White Knight, sales aren't quite as strong as its predecessor, but still sold 63,000 comics to retailers with a $5 cover price. Until Joker, most Year the Villain one-shot sales had disappointed, but the Tales from the Dark Multiverse one-shots are faring much better. Nightfall shipped 57,000 issues, while Death of Superman moved 46,000. Both comics were returnable, so their final sales numbers are decreased by 10% on Comichron.com. If you want to get really depressed, go check out sales for DC's mid-tier comics. Grant Morrison's Green Lantern barely managed to eclipse 40,000 issues shipped. Flash is barely hanging in there at 35,000 shipped. G. Willow Wilson's Wonder Woman tanked down to 28,000. Rick Grayson and Kelly Sue DeConnick destroyed Nightwing and Aquaman. Both titles barely managed to hit 20,000 comics sold to retailers. Not good. Todd McFarlane's Spawn 301 places the series in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest running creator-owned comic series. The record-breaking issue shipped a very impressive 186,000 comics at $5 each. Spawn 300 and 301 were a huge boost for Image, who's searching for a new hit or two after The Walking Dead's abrupt ending. Robert Kirkman's post-apocalyptic zombie series presence can still be felt. The Walking Dead Compendium Volume 4 sold the highest dollar volume for graphic novels. Dynamite Entertainment keeps cashing on their flagship character Vampirella. Vengeance of Vampirella #1 shipped an impressive 43,000 comics to retailers. DC Comics had the highest selling graphic novel by units. Doomsday Clock Part 1 hardcover edition proves Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's Watchmen DC Universe crossover is still very much in demand. What could have been? Now let's see what insight Comicron analyst John Jackson Miller provides regarding October's comic book sales. Memories in the comic hobby are often short, a condition Comicron exists to help address. With a poor year for the comic shop market in 2017, and with much of 2018 and 19 spent bobbling along, neither gaining nor losing much ground, it's easy to forget that the decade of the 2010s has been a very strong one for the industry, with regular and sometimes spectacular sales growth running from the DC New 52 event in 2011 to DC's Rebirth event in 2016. It's not simply a story of inflation. By Thanksgiving, retailers will have ordered more new comic books in 2019 than they did in all of 2011, and that includes the New 52 event. But apart from a few months dominated by big anniversary issues, the last 3 years really haven't had one of those blockbuster months like we saw in the earlier part of the decade. With The Walking Dead's 15th anniversary and the launch of Batman White Knight trade paperback, October 2018 was the strongest month of that year, so it was reasonable to speculate that October 2019 would have had some trouble matching up. It turned out there was no need for concern. In fact, we got the blockbuster. Where both this October and last October each had 5 new comic book days, last month almost looks like a 6th Wednesday month as retailers ordered $56.35 million in comic books, graphic novels, and magazines from Diamond Comic distributors. That's an increase of 14.09% or nearly $7 million. Comic shop orders of comics, graphic novels, and magazines from Diamond stand at $446.25 million for the year through October, up nearly $8 million or 2%. October 2019 was the 4th best month of the decade in dollar orders and the best month since August 2016. Itself an outstanding month when retailers ordered more than 10 million comic books during the Rebirth event. That wraps up my analysis of October's comic industry sales. Marvel Comics continue raising sales for the entire industry. They are guaranteed to sell more comics in 2019 versus 2018 now. Jonathan Hickman's X-Men reboot will likely lead to even greater gains when 2019 wraps up. DC continues relying heavily on out-of-continuity comics, led by DC Black Label. Cash Cow Deceased is over, but Black Label books continue flowing through the end of 2019. Todd McFarlane's record-breaking Spawn 301 backed up the exceptionally successful Spawn 300. It will be interesting to see how many readers stick around and continue reading Spawn. It's one of the best indie comics going today, in my opinion. There's a great chance the comic book industry will experience market growth in dollars sold and an outside chance with units shipped. It all depends on how much staying power the Dawn of X comics have and the reaction to Marvel Events 2099 and Annihilation Scourge. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.